Early in his life, John Norman Lauer learned the value of hard work and integrity from his parents, Mandy and Louise. Raised by members of the Greatest Generation, his childhood close to the Chesapeake Bay was the typical American story from that time. The doors were always open, and while the dads were away fighting for their country, the moms raised their kids and the rest of the neighborhoods as well. The lessons of loyalty, discipline, generosity, and the importance of giving back were learned on Nicholson Street, and they stuck. In the early 1960s, John studied chemical engineering at the University of Maryland. It was there at an SAE fraternity party that he met Edith Kish, an English major who had emigrated to the United States from Hungary just a few years before. Through this relationship, he would learn about the Hungarian Revolution, the tyranny of communism, and the strength of the Hungarian spirit, especially that of the Kish family. Soon after they were married, John realized what happens when you are married to a proud Hungarian. You become half Magyar yourself. The young couple had 2 daughters in the tiny town of Kingsville, Texas, and after several moves around the country, found themselves living in Brussels, Belgium, where Edith would return and John would travel to Hungary for the very first time. Fatherhood was a new adventure, especially to 2 little girls, but he relied on the teachings of his parents to pass those lessons on. He cheered them on from the sidelines, taught them to throw the perfect spiral just in case, and chased away the boyfriends he did not approve of. And he taught them the importance of education and took them to see the world. All the while, John was moving up in the corporate world, working for Celanese, Höchst, B.F. Goodrich, Ogilvy Norton, and Diebold. He became known as a troubleshooter, the guy you could count on, and as a result, the family moved every 2 years. Next to his work, he continued to honor the values instilled in him by his parents by volunteering for a number of organizations and serving on even more boards.
John Lauer, as everyone knows, is not only a devoted husband, a great father to his 2 lovely daughters, and a very, very proud grandfather to 2 wonderful grandsons, but he's also an individual who is very, very much respected and loved in our greater Cleveland community. John has been a businessman, respected by his peers, very involved in the community in both profits and not-for-profit.
When the Iron Curtain fell in 1989 and changes began to sweep through Eastern Europe, including Hungary, Edith and a dedicated group of Hungarian Americans created the Hungarian American Coalition. John supported it wholeheartedly.
I met Edith in 1988, and we had sown a lot of projects and plans for the future. Little did we know what will happen in 1989. But then later I met John, and when I met John, I realized that our plans and projects will be implemented, will be done.
John and Edith met with government officials on both sides of the Atlantic, traveled to some of the most traditional yet destitute regions in Eastern Europe, and saw firsthand the types of programs that could and would make a difference in people's lives. And along came John Lauer, like in a fairy tale, the man who, as an American, was able to understand our situation in Slovakia more deeply than any visiting Hungarian during the previous decades. I don't think that there are many people like John in the world of literature. He is not interested in the flashy trappings of the world. Instead, he seeks and finds and provides support for the values that endure. We do not speak each other's language, yet we still speak the same language, and I am honored to call John my friend. He did not speak the language, but he did find a way to connect. The The Godparent program in Kolozsvár, Transylvania, is another example. Over the years, John and Edith have sponsored more than 50 godchildren, but it is so much more than just financial.
As we all know, financial help by those who are in need is very much appreciated, but John Lauer brought another side to this American outreach. He visited his godchildren. Almost every June, he and his wife Edith would drive through the mountains and those hairpin curves to Kolozsvár to celebrate the graduation ceremonies. He was perhaps the first and only American these students would ever meet. A kind word through a translator, a concerned comment, an inquiry into their future, an encouragement to strive despite all their hardships and poverty is the message he gave.
John Lauer should be enjoying retirement now, but he can't just yet. He still chairs the board of his beloved alma mater, the University of Maryland Foundation, and serves on the board of Sigma Alpha Epsilon National Fraternity. And he is an exceptionally busy granddaddy, mentoring Miklós as he works his way through the Cub Scout ranks and cheering on Jánoska from the sidelines. And he is busy setting an example for all non-Hungarian spouses on the proper way to be an honorary Hungarian American.